What is going on, podcast junkies? Have you started your podcast over the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the year? What's it called? What's it about? Tell me in the comments below. Today, we're going to talk about how to get started on a budget. There's thousands of these videos out there, but I want to make another one because why not? Because I have the experience of starting from a phone to the setup I have here, which I might turn the camera around and show you that, but let's get right into it. So let's start with the basics. Really, all you need to record a podcast is, and we're going to get to the video portion of it because, like I said in the first two videos, or the first one, you absolutely have to do video. You need a recording device, you need something to talk into, and then you need something to be able to edit. So I hope everyone has a computer. You're probably watching this on your smartphone, but you can start with your smartphone and then work your way up if you don't have a laptop or a desktop. And to be quite honest with you, I started recording 12 years ago, I believe it was, I'm losing track of time here, on an iPhone 3GS. The iPhone 3GS, I don't remember why it was so significant to the 3 or the 3G or whatever, but it had your regular, aux input, your headphone input, and they had, which you can still buy them, they're iRig microphones, where you just plug it in and you could talk into the phone. It was good for, they used to say that it's good for singing or speech or whatever, taking notes vocally. And I totally agree. I used that iRig 3GS combo for probably the first year to maybe even longer. And all I would do is I would hook up one of the iRigs, and I always, like I said, I always wanted to interview people. So I would pick people I wanted to interview, anybody from a friend, a colleague, an acquaintance or whatever, somebody with an interesting story, to somebody who I might land that had a little bit more notoriety or experience in life, and we could be able to just sit at a coffee shop or sit in their office and talk. And the way I have to do it, keep in mind I'm in my early 20s, 21, 2, something like that. Not a lot of money, not a lot going on career-wise. I had actually dropped out of college at the time. That's for a later video. And I would pass the microphone. I would talk into it, ask a question. I'd pass the microphone back and forth. And from that iRig to the 3GS, it was going into a field recorder app. You could probably still download these and record on your phone. I'm sure they're so advanced. I think Anchor is actually an app, which I was going to mention later. I'm not too familiar with it, but I know I've heard people say you can actually just record straight into the Anchor app and post it up on Anchor. And I believe that now they're affiliated with Spotify, if I'm not mistaken, and you could just distribute it there and it's all done, right? That's going to work if you're trying to do a solo podcast, but if you're trying to interview people, it's really not going to work that way. And it's going to be a little odd these days in 2023 and beyond to get people to just sit and you're passing your one single microphone back and forth. So there's a lot of videos that highlight some of the entry-level microphones. Like the Yeti's always been the go-to. I think it's $100 these days. It's always been around $100 or so, 90 to 120 probably. And it's a good microphone. I personally don't like it because, a lot of people will just set it in the middle of a table and it's supposed to record, around it. And I'm an audio junkie, which I'm sure a lot of you people have grown to be, and you want the best sounding quality possible, and that Yeti mic just doesn't deliver it for you. For instance, this is a Shure a Shure MV7. It's currently my favorite microphone. At the studio where I produce and co-host other shows, we have SM7Bs, which is widely known as the Rogan mic, right? Those are phenomenal. This MV7 right now is probably going for, and I'll look it up shortly, and I'll have links to these in the description so you can make your own conclusion, but they probably go for anywhere from $250 to $280 if it's on sale. And Amazon typically has sales on a lot of their stuff all the time. But if you catch it at full retail, if you happen to walk into a Best Buy or wherever might sell these, you're going to pay $300. The SM7B, that starts at about $400 and kind of fluctuates from there. I highly recommend, and this is what might be the highlight point of the video, because I'm on my little shelf back here. I have all the things as decoration that I used to use. So the phone, obviously, I kind of wish I still had my iPhone 3GS. I don't know what happened to it. Probably just broke, got rid of it or whatever. But from the 3GS, equipment-wise, I moved up to a Zoom H4n. This isn't even an H4n Pro, which I think they have these days. This is just a regular, your handy recorder Zoom H4n. This thing lasted me years. I probably used this for probably 6 years, 6+ years before I moved up to a mixer. And I was still using this to wire it to the mixer. And we can get into that later. It's a little bit more technical, but we're talking about budget pieces of equipment. This right now, if you can probably find one on eBay, I don't know, $150 maybe less. And they have upgraded models. Like I had an H6 for a while that had knobs and were more sophisticated, and that's probably running you around maybe $250, $300 if I had to guess right now. And they're worth it. They're on the go, they're mobile, you can plug in mics, you have so many abilities with this little bitty thing. And then to plug into it, you need a microphone, right? And we've talked about these Shures. I love the MV7 I'm using right now. The SM7B is kind of like the gold standard. But on my back shelf here, I have 3 of these. Okay, these are Behringer XM 1800Ss. This I did pull up because I was curious if they still sold these and how much they were. And I used these for a long time as well. I probably used these when I got them in like 2013, 14. I used them for, I don't know, the same 5-6 years that I was using the H4n. And I happened to look those up, and I have them here next to me. They're currently $58.95 for a pack of 3. And I'll have that link in the description as well. They are affiliate links. They help the channel grow. I'm going to plug this in because I haven't plugged it in a very long time. And if you're an audio junkie, you're going to want the best quality possible, right? But the reason I kept these so long, I have to imagine, was because they were good. And I do remember them being very good, very decent for the price. 3 for $60. They're $20 a piece. This is $300. The SM7B's $400 and up. These come with a windscreen currently. So I already have it on here. One of these, they comes with a pack of windscreens, and it says with stands as well, for $58.95. That is incredible. So I'm going to keep the windscreen off, and I'm just actually going to plug this up. So you're going to see me switch it. I'll try to make a cut so you don't hear the noise in your ears. Okay. This sounds, I'm not going to lie, this sounds incredible for a $20 microphone. They call it like just a vocal instrument mic, and this doesn't have the windscreen on it. So, whatever. Let me see. All right, so it blocks off some of the noise. Not bad. You can rig up one of these arms to put one of these on there, or you can do it on one of these little stands that it'll probably come with like this. But guys, listen to my voice. This is a $20 microphone that has lasted the test of time. As you can tell, there's some damage to it from just being thrown around equipment bags and duffel bags and such. Doesn't look that bad, honestly. It's just some paint coming off, but I am thoroughly impressed. I haven't heard my voice in this microphone in at least 5 to 7 years. This sounds incredible. I mean, you be the judge. Tell me in the comments if you see this video the day it drops, a week later, a year later, that these Behringer XM1800Ss aren't just as good sounding and full sounding and quality sounding as this Shure MV7 that's $300, or a Rogan mic, an SM7B, which we use at our studios that are $400 plus. There's no excuse why you can't get your little kit, your little studio setup going for literally under $500. You could probably do it for a lot less if you go to eBay or catch the right sale on Amazon. Let me switch over to my MV7 again. Okay, so you can immediately kind of tell a difference, but honestly, and this is running through the Rode Procaster. I have mixing, or live, I guess, compression and mixing mixed in there, whatever I'm trying to say. And you can tell a difference, but not that much. And I'm not going to lie, this one actually sounds a little deeper, a little fuller. But this, sure, it does give you a little bit more of a broadcaster sound. This all of a sudden became a review video of microphones, which I didn't intend for it to be, but I'm just going to put it up the way that it is, because on a budget, you could always find a better alternative than what a lot of other YouTubers or podcasters might recommend. I'm telling you, start with your phone. Find a really cheap Zoom H4n. You don't need the H6. You don't need the mixer. You don't need the Rodecaster yet if you're just starting off and trying to get your feet wet and interviewing people or doing a solo podcast. This hasn't been touched in a long time. I haven't cleaned it. Look at this. I mean, that's disgusting, but I haven't touched this thing in a long time. They've been on shelves, and if we move houses, it's on a different shelf in a box. But it's such a good device. I could still crank that up. I could still go out and carry it in my bag and record a podcast on it if I needed to, and then dump it onto my laptop and put it into the software, which is kind of the next step I wanted to get to. I'm really impressed with these. $60 for 3 of these. So I'm just going to cut through the crap. You can use Audition. You can use GarageBand. You can use a ton of other softwares. You don't need anything more than Audacity when you start out. And to this day, I still use Audacity for the majority of the simple projects, because I typically don't do a lot of editing. We do straightforward interviews, cut the ends, add your ads in there if they're ads, add your drops for whatever, your plugs, and you're done. You're set. Find the right tutorial, and maybe I can help you guys find that, because I'm not trying to be a full-on tutorial channel. I'm trying to give you the guidance to just get started and show you the pros and cons of waiting and not doing, and what you can accomplish in a decade of doing this that you may have never accomplished or got to experience had you not started. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I got so excited by this microphone right here. So Audacity is the go-to. It's free. It's open source. There's always updates. Not always. There's updates from time to time that always improve it significantly. So that's my recommendation. Just go download Audacity. It's free. In closing to this video, get yourself a good recorder. So something that you want to, visually. I'm almost forgetting this because it's not until now the late 2020s plus that I realized how important video was going to be. And as we're all seeing, shorts, TikToks, Reels, Facebook Reels, the whole thing is super important. Long form video. Everybody and their mother who is a big corporation now has a podcast and a visual element to it. If you're starting off as well, like right now I'm using the Sony ZV-1. My personal favorite because it doesn't have detachable lenses and it's not a whole lot of work to it because I'm not a cinematographer. I'm not trying to make the most exquisitely looking 30-minute to an hour plus podcast. I want it to look good. I want it to look clean. I want it to have defocus. I want it to be able to focus when I need it to. Like, if I show you this mouse, boom, Logitech MX Master 3S, one of my favorite mouses I've ever had in my life. But you see how quickly it does that? It's almost like a handy cam. It fits in your pocket. It closes, so the lens is always protected in there. If you're starting off and you don't have the money for a ZV-1, because I believe this camera right now runs around $700, all you need is a Logitech C920 or the like. C920, C922, I think, C920 Pro, C920X. They're all about under $100. I have about 4 of these that I use for a long time. And if I pull that up, because that tab I do have pulled up, the C920X HD is a 1080p 30 frames per second camera. It's on sale for $57. I'll have that in the description as well. There's no excuse to not get started podcasting. So with all that said, tell me what the name of your show is. If you already started it, tell me what it's about. Drop me a link in the description. If you're going to get started this weekend or whenever you're watching this video, because this is what actually sparked that I'm going to get going in you, drop that name in there and say, I'm starting it this day. It's going to drop whatever time. Check it out. And I'll be glad to check it out. I love finding out when people jump into this because they love it. They want to see what they can do with it and see where it takes them. Enjoy. The goal is to put up 1 video a week. Lots of other things take over. It was a very content-heavy week this week for myself. I recorded 9 podcasts this week. It's very, very fun but very busy week. And then obviously you got to create everything else, the content, the shorts, and the rest of it, the distribution of it. But I want to try to put out more videos. I'm going to try to just continue to rearrange schedules and timing to be able to do all the other stuff, home life, wife, kids, and this channel as well. Real quick, a roundup for the last 7 days. Actually, since the beginning of the year, from the 1st to when this video drops, as of the recording of this, the channel has 4,000 views, 26.3 hours of watch time, and 10 plus subscribers from the 1st to right now it's the 14th. Listen, that's a huge boost in the channel's growth and the eyes and ears that got to it from just 2 videos, half a dozen shorts from those 2 videos, and then we're off, we're keeping it moving. So you're helping me do it. I'm helping show you how to do it from a brand new channel. And then later, as this grows, I'll give you other examples from other shows that I've worked on and helped produce and help produce now to show you how they do. It's all one step at a time. It's a day at a time. I hope some of these suggestions from me help you start a podcast on a budget that doesn't break the bank and doesn't have you having buyer's remorse immediately because you spent way too much on a Rodecaster and a ZV-1 and an MV7 and all these monitors and computer and blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do that when you start. Get your feet wet, start cheap, start with what you know you can handle, and just build upon that. The more excited you get about it, the better your product becomes, the more you're going to want to invest in it, and the more money you're going to want to make, and the more you're going to figure it out. With that said, have a great day. Don't have a good day. Have a great day.